Hey everyone, Andrew here. Today, my trusty J45 is in dire need of a new set of strings, so I thought it'd be a great opportunity to show you the best, cue all the internet hate, way to change your strings. Okay everybody, before we get started we're going to need a few things. So obviously a set of strings. I'm putting some Elixir 12 to 53s on this little guy. Coated strings, last a long time and sound pretty good. We're going to need a tuner so we can tune the guitar up. I'm using my trusty Polytune clip-on from TC Electronics. Something to cut the ends of the strings off with. So it's a pair of side cutters. I've even in the past, when I was a kid, I used to use fingernail cutters a lot. They'll all do the job. And if you want to save yourself a bunch of time, a peg winder. That's going to save heaps of time winding the strings back onto the pegs. Now, if you're really clever, you can get something like this little guy. This is a peg winder made by Planet Waves, and there's a heap of companies make them. But it's got a set of snips built into it, so you can use that to cut your strings off with. It's a great thing to leave in your case. And if you're interested in any of this stuff too, there'll be links down below that you can purchase it from, and that'll help me keep doing this. Hey, as a bonus, if you stick around to the end, I'm going to give you a few tips on how to change strings on electric guitars that have both Strat type bridges and also Floyd Rose type bridges. Let's jump into it. Now on an acoustic guitar, the first thing we want to do is loosen off the strings, like such. And then we're going to remove the bridge pins. Now your peg winder, if you've got one, if you can see under there, it's got this little notch that you can use. So we can pull out our bridge pins like this. Or if you haven't got a peg winder and you've got a pair of side cutters, we can use that as well. Just gently slide it under the pin and lift it up. Don't be too rough, because the last thing in the world you want to do is damage the pin or damage your guitar. We just pop those guys out. Now, one thing to watch for when you're taking the string out of their little individual packets is be really careful not to accidentally kink the string. These wound strings, it's pretty easy, but your high E string and B string, it's really easy to put a kink in it. Now, if you do that, it's going to cause a point where your string will potentially break later, or it may even cause fret rattle or fret buzz when you're playing. Now, to fit the string into the bridge, simply insert the string into its respective hole. Then grab your bridge pin, and as you push the bridge pin into the hole, what you want to do is lift the string up, and what that's going to do is it's going to lock the ball end of the string underneath the bridge plate. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to take our string, I'm going to push it through the hole in the tuning head and pull it through. Now we're then going to allow enough slack so that we can take a turn of the string. We're going to twist it around, in this case on the bass side, clockwise. I'm going to put a wrap on the top of the string like this. Then all we have to do is hold the string down. I put a little 90-degree kink in the string and then wind it up. Now the aim with this is to get one wrap over the top of the string and then maybe 1 to 2 wraps underneath. That's going to lock the string in place and you're not going to have any tuning problems. Now, one thing you want to watch out for with this is you don't want to get too many wraps around the string post. Just the reason being is the more string you got around there, the more chance you have for it to slip. So 2 to 3 wraps is generally heaps if you use this method. Once you've done that, just cut the string off. Now all that's left to do is to repeat that for the other strings. Okay, now that you've got your 6 strings perfectly put on, You've tuned it up, it sounded great, but we've got one more step. Now, if you don't want your new strings to go out of tune continuously after you first put them on, what we want to do, drop our guitar back down, and we're going to stretch our strings in. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab, starting with our low E string, I'm just going to put my finger on the bridge, I'll give it a good stretch, and I'm going to go all the way down the length of the string. I'm going to hold the string down in the nut while I stretch down here. And what I'm doing is I'm taking a bit of that stretch out of the string. I'm making sure that it's bedding in the bridge and bedding in on the machine heads there. And what you'll notice is that this pitch has dropped. Pull it back up to pitch again, and I'm going to give it another stretch. Hasn't dropped so much this time. One last stretch. Perfect. And if you do that for the rest of your 6 strings, you're going to be able to change your strings and you're not going to have any tuning problems. Good luck, we've just successfully changed strings on our acoustic guitar. Now for the electric guitar, we're going to follow the same process we did for the acoustic guitar. The only difference is instead of using the bridge pins to hold the strings in place, we're going to feed the strings through the holes in the tremolo block. A Telecaster will have strings through the body like that. If you've got a guitar with a double locking tremolo like a Floyd Rose or an edge tremolo like on this Ibanez, you're going to have to cut the ball off, and you'll actually insert the ball into the saddle and lock it into place with the Allen key just there. Now if your guitar's got a hardtail like a Telecaster or like a Les Paul, you simply follow all the same steps that we did for the acoustic guitar. But if you've got an electric guitar with a tremolo system, there's a couple extra steps that we need to take. If your bridge is floating, like on my Strat, or like a Floyd Rose style on the Ibanez, we need to keep the bridge in place while we change strings. And there's 2 ways you can do that. On my Strat, I use a little piece of ruler, and I simply insert that under the back of the bridge, and what happens is when you take the strings off, it's going to stop the tremolo from diving back against the body, so it's going to maintain the original position of the bridge. If your guitar's got a full floating tremolo system, like this Ibanez, so it dives down or it dives up, what we want to do is manufacture 2 little wedges like that, and we need these. So we flip the guitar over, we can put 1 wedge on either side of the trem block. That's going to stop our tremolo from moving. So that way the tremolo doesn't move, we can train strings, and we're not going to have any dramas. So now we've restrung this guitar, we've tuned it up to pitch. So the next step is to remove our block, which was keeping our bridge in place. Now one thing you want to watch for, if we pull that block out and our tuning changes, whatever you do, don't touch the tuning heads. That's going to be the worst thing you can do, and you'll be in for a nightmare. What we want to do is take a screwdriver, flip our guitar over to the side, and we're going to adjust the tuning of the low E and the high E with these 2 screws in the back of the guitar. So we're going to tighten them and loosen them. So if the string is too tight, we're going to loosen it off. If the string is too slack, so if the string is flat, we're going to tighten it up. So it's going to do that now. So going off my tuner, my string is it's sharp, so my low E is sharp, so I'm going to loosen it off until it gets close to being in tune. And I keep checking the low E and the high E. You can see my high E is actually gone the other direction, so it needs tightening slightly. So what we were doing while I was adjusting the tuning with the screws is we're balancing out the string tension against the spring tension, and that's going to put the bridge back in the position it was when we had the block under it. There you go, we've successfully restrung an acoustic guitar, an electric guitar, and we've learnt how to balance out the string tension with the spring tension to maintain our floating bridge. Hey, thanks for taking the time to watch this video on how to restring your guitar. I hope it saves you some time the next time you go to restring your favourite acts. Now, if you've liked this video, give me a like, leave me a comment. Even if you disagree with the way I've done things, leave me a comment anyway. Everything helps. But if you enjoyed the video and you've gotten something out of it and you want to see more, subscribe to my channel and hit that bell icon so you can get notified when the next video comes out. But otherwise, thanks again. I appreciate you guys and gals all so much. Until next time, peace. Bye.